Warlocks. Not as many changes in the exotic department for y'all, and I'm just going to say up front, it's not really that exciting either. But I still wanted to hit you with a vibe check on what has changed in your world. First up, we got Balladorse Wrath Weavers. Quite the mouthful there. These have kind of turned into a surge exotic. You got that tier 4 stasis bonus coming out of your super. You give tier 4 when you do the shockwave from your super. But now, casting a Frost Pulse Rift gives you and teammates a 50 HP overshield and stasis surge tier 2 for 10 seconds. So, pretty much any stasis warlock is probably going to tell you that Osmiomancy is the main stasis build for Warlocks in PvE. It's simple to use, it's very efficient, you get tons of freeze and crowd control potential. It's fantastic. It's also not very aggressive, you play pretty safe, you don't put yourself in danger. This is the build that every stasis thing in the future must compete against. The opportunity cost is quite massive as a result. So, does the now neutral game friendly Balladorse do anything to stop the reign of Osmiomancy? In my opinion, no. In PvE. Frost Pulse is not a bad aspect. You drop your Rift, you AoE freeze stuff around you, and now you're getting a tier 2 stasis weapon buff. And don't forget that Frost Pulse itself also got a buff. But in PvE world, you need to put yourself into some amount of danger to use it other than just buffing your weapons for a little bit, or you got to stack a bunch of time dilations, or you need to use it defensively, which I don't think is something that people should focus on. Also, you need to be using stasis weapons to benefit. Now, there are a lot of good stasis weapons out there. Cold Comfort, one of the best rockets in the game, is stasis. But this is something that takes some time to coordinate ahead of time. You need to make sure people are actually going to benefit from this other than yourself. Otherwise, well, it's just going to be for you. That's not a bad thing, but I definitely think you can do better. This is feeling more like a PvP-focused thing, which, you know, I mean, I don't like playing against Frost Pulse in PvP. I didn't like it before the buff. I can't imagine I'm going to like it after the buff. Another thing, too, is that Winter's Wrath is just not good in PvE. It's incredibly slow to use, it doesn't really hit that many targets, and its single target damage is pathetic. So I don't even want to be using my super in the first place, and the bulk of the exotic revolves around buffing your teammates with the super. I had someone tell me that people doing speedrunning still have not really found a use for Balladorse. I know my raid team tried them out a while back for damage testing, and we did not like the whole shockwave interaction too much either. Speedrunners typically on the cutting edge of strategies, and this also mainly got a neutral game buff, not even something for your super. So, yeah, Warlocks, I am personally going to go back to sleep on Balladorse. Decent boost, but PvE players can continue on Osmiomancy or whatever kind of Agar Scepter thing you might have been doing with Mantle of Battle Harmony. Like, that's how not good the super is that you instead use your super energy to activate Agar Scepter over actually using your super. Next, we have Apotheosis Veil. Now, when I first saw people talking about Apotheosis Veil, I was surprised that it was getting the love that it was getting. After all, how good is super fast melee and grenade regen speed for 7 seconds after a super ends? I mean, it's good with specific setups, I suppose. For example, Solar Warlocks can slap down a well and throw 5 fusion grenades and 4 snap melees, which is a pretty solid chunk of damage. You're rolling ignites like I'm back in World of Warcraft. It's not bad. All Warlocks can utilize a Demolitionist rocket to fire off a couple of rockets for free as well after their super. So you dump a Nova Bomb or something, and then rocket, nade, you get it. I don't think demo rockets are necessarily the meta right now, but I'm sure with this setup, it's plenty viable. Like, people aren't going to get mad if you want to do some demo rocket stuff with this helmet. Strand Warlocks can also benefit quite nicely. 5 Threadling Grenades ain't too shabby either. Almost every Warlock spec has a grenade worth spamming for a few seconds after a super. You can, and probably should, make this a swap exotic. Just throw it on before your super, and then swap off it when you're done. Do I think I'll be bringing this into locked loadout content? Right now, I think not, unless I'm going for a really specific rocket DPS type setup. This is the definition of a super-only exotic. You're only getting the benefit when you pop super, and, well, technically after you pop the super, and the rest of the time, you are on your own. Your exotic is not contributing to your neutral game at all. And I don't know if right now Apotheosis does enough to warrant your neutral game having no exotic attached outside of those hyper-specific situations. I would not want my loadout locked with Apotheosis Veil on at this time. I'm open to having my mind changed in the future. There's totally a world where it becomes really popular with some specific encounter or something, but without maybe a bit more testing under my belt, I'm not confident in making a call right now. I personally was a little underwhelmed just using it in whatever random content I was doing. It's not something I plan on really hot swapping to either. If you really want some grenade action that's more than just after your super, you got Sunbracers and you got Verity's Brow to mess with. I know Verity's Brow doesn't shade well and it doesn't look that great. It's still really good, so just throw it on. Fellwinter's Helm got a buff to the radius and duration of the weakening effect when killing any target. Everything has moved up one tier except for bosses, which stayed the same. Basically, bigger radius and duration for every kind of activation on Fellwinter's Helm. This is as direct of a buff as you could get on this thing. Previously, this exotic was being used for solo raid boss endeavors. People would kite an enemy over to a boss, or vice versa, hit a finisher, which weakens the boss, and then you go to town on the boss. Outside of that scenario, I don't think I ever saw this being used by pretty much anyone outside of maybe some really specific circumstances or setups. So is it worth using now? I am still not that interested in running a build that utilizes this helm. I've always been interested in the effect that it gives because it's pretty darn good, like 30% weakness and a disorient. That's great. I've just never felt like I really needed it in my day-to-day Destiny playing. Anything remotely close to your level, you don't need this. Things die too quickly for me to care about setting it all up. Once we start pushing into the Legend difficulty range, that's kind of the sweet spot to me where you probably aren't going to die instantly, but enemies live long enough that the effect is somewhat justified. You could make a finisher-specific build, and by that I mean go Void, equip Echo of Security to go invis on a finisher, and throw on Proximity Ward in your class item, which gets you an overshield while doing a finisher, and just be a finisher bot for your team, but that's just not that exciting to do. I'm not saying other people can't enjoy that, but I want to have a more active role in my gameplay. I would rather have a slightly less potent weakening effect through Trial of the Old Gods, run my Briarbinds build with Touch of Malice, and just spread weakness everywhere that way. You'll maintain half of the weakness effect, but you actually get to participate in some kind of a gameplay loop versus just running around spamming finishers. That, to me, is more fun to do than spamming finishers. All that being said, hold up, there is something to say about a Strand setup, maybe with Monte Carlo if you want a little extra juice, where you're just flicking out melees all over the place, hitting some red bars to crowd control entire rooms of enemies now that the radius is bigger. You probably need to coordinate your melees a little bit more, making sure that they actually kill the target, but that is something to consider. Finally, Karnstein Armlets got more of a keyword change than any sort of real adjustment. It now does a cure and restoration effect instead of the generic random heal word that it used to do, vampiric something, I think, maybe. So, I don't know, technically a buff, because you can now do stuff with the cure and restoration keywords, but otherwise there are no big shifts to the exotic itself, so I'm not really going to dive too deep into the exotic for now. Warlocks only got these 4 exotics adjusted, so shorter video and also not really that exciting in my opinion. Hunters, y'all have a lot more stuff, so it might take me a bit longer to dig through all the things there. I'm working as fast as I can through that, but we got a new dungeon coming too, so it might be a little bit. I'm going as fast as I can though. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time.